I'm going to be straight with you. A man doesn't ruin his life with a single choice. It's never just a slap from fate. No. A man destroys himself little by little through small daily choices, compromises, taking the easy way out and making excuses. And one day you wake up at 40, 50 years old, tired, frustrated, burned out. And you look at your body and you have no more energy, no more drive. You look at your career and you see that you're working just to pay bills, but you haven't built your dream life. You look at your family and you realize that you weren't really there. And that's when it hurts, because you understand that it was your choices that brought you here. I've been living with discipline for over 30 years, and believe me, I've seen dozens of men make exactly these mistakes and bitterly regret it. So today, I'm not going to sugarcoat things for you, I'm just going to tell you the truth straight up. So here are the 10 choices that ruin men's lives. And if you see yourself in this, there's still time to change, but not tomorrow, not next week, today. The first choice that ruins a man's life, obviously, is sacrificing his health. And you know what? It's the sneakiest one. Because when you're young, you actually think your body is invincible. So you go out, you drink, you eat whatever you want, you don't sleep, you push your body as if you'll never have to pay the price. But the truth is, your body takes it and takes it and takes it. And one day, it hands you the bill. And believe me, it's a hefty one. For me, it started early, since my teenage years. I already had back pain. It was partly genetic, but I didn't really care. I was obsessed with sports, and later on with bodybuilding. And then with competition, with the idea of proving that I was capable. So what did I do? I gritted my teeth and did what a lot of men do. I ignored the signs. And after that, I went on to do more than 35 competitions in my career. Extreme diets, brutal dehydration. Diets where you get down to 5% body fat and every step is an effort. And I pushed my body to the limit again and again because I absolutely wanted to get my IFBB Pro card and because I had made discipline my identity. And then one day, in December 2017, everything changed. A herniated disc surgery, and that's when the nightmare began. After the operation, I was supposed to feel relieved, but I caught a bacteria at the hospital, a hospital-acquired infection, and suddenly, the guy who spent his life lifting weights found himself stuck in a hospital bed for over 3 months. 3 months unable to turn over in bed, to get up on my own. 3 months with the fear that I might never walk again. And actually the doctors would come to see me, and some of them told me, get ready because it's possible it could take you a year to walk again, and it's even possible that you might never walk again. So you want to know what I was thinking at that moment? All I wanted wasn't a trophy, it wasn't a stage, it wasn't a photo on a magazine cover. No, I just wanted to be able to get up, to be able to walk, to feel like I had control over my body again. And for 6 months, I had to wear a hard brace, a rigid corset. I had to relearn how to walk with a walker, and then I had to relearn how to train using resistance bands and my own body weight. I tried to rebuild myself little by little. But I had understood one thing: without health, you have nothing. Not money, not success, not even the strength to be there for the ones you love. In the end, your body is truly your foundation, your temple, and every time you choose alcohol over water, for example, the couch over effort, or ease over discipline, you're digging your own grave. I got a second chance. Many people don't. So stop sacrificing your health for your ego or for stupid things, because in the end, without it, everything else falls apart. The second choice that ruins a man's life is never investing in yourself. And that might be the greatest tragedy of our generation. Because look around you, how many guys spend hundreds of euros a month on going out, on cigarettes, on gadgets, on video games, on pointless stuff. But on the other hand, they hesitate to spend $50 on a book, a program, or to invest in a course or a coach. I understood very early on that if I wanted to become someone, I had to put my resources where they really matter. And I spent 8 years in higher education, I took courses, I traveled, I worked with mentors, I invested in myself, I invested in my health, in my body, in my business. And do you think it was easy? Well, no, not at all. Often I was broke, I had to juggle 3 jobs. Often I had to choose between going out with my friends or putting that money into a course or a plane ticket to go learn somewhere else. But you know what? It's thanks to all that I built my life, that I was able to move to Miami, become an IFBB pro, and above all, create a business that saved me when I was stuck in bed and couldn't do in-person coaching anymore. Because the truth is simple, the most powerful return on investment is yourself. Not a car that loses value as soon as you drive it out of the garage, not a 4K or 8K TV that'll be outdated in a year, not nights out where you wake up the next day with a hangover. You, your health, your knowledge, your skills. Men who refuse to invest in themselves stay stuck. They complain, they envy, they criticize, but they never take action. Never, because they want everything except to pay the price. I can tell you one thing, the man you'll be in 5 years depends directly on what you decide to invest today. So ask yourself this question. Are you putting your time, your energy, your money into what builds you up or into what destroys you? Because in the end, a man who refuses to invest in himself is making the safest choice, the choice to remain mediocre. The third choice that ruins a man's life is living through the opinions of others. When I was a teenager, I had zero self-confidence. I thought I was ugly, skinny. I was obsessed with my nose, convinced that girls didn't like me. And then one day, a friend showed me a magazine with Ronnie Coleman and Arnold on the cover, and he said to me, "If you have a body like that, no one will ever make fun of you again." And it's true that it was a turning point, but at the same time it was a prison because it meant that my image, my worth, depended on how others saw me. And even back then it was hard, but you know what? Today it's 1,000 times worse. Back in my day, you compared yourself to the guy in your class or the champion in the magazines, but now with social media, the problem is that it's 24/7. You've got Instagram, TikTok, YouTube bombarding you non-stop with edited bodies, perfect lives, 20-year-old guys living in Dubai who are successful, and basically it reflects back on your own life and you feel like you failed at yours. As a result, millions of men live in constant comparison. They never feel handsome enough, never rich enough, never strong enough, and they do not even dare to make a move anymore because they already believe they've lost. So let me tell you the truth, all of that is just an illusion. You're only seeing 10 seconds of someone's life, you're not seeing the reality. And if I had listened to others, I would never have become an IFBB pro, I would never have gone to the United States, I would have always stayed that shy, insecure kid locked away in his room. And you, how many times have you made a choice in your life just because you were afraid of what others would think? How many times have you given up on a dream because someone told you it wasn't for you? So let me tell you something. A man's freedom begins the day he stops seeking approval. Discipline isn't just in the gym, it's also in your identity. Knowing who you are, what you want, and moving forward, even if no one understands, even if everyone laughs at you. Because in the end, the only opinion that matters is the one you have of yourself when you look in the mirror. And believe me, if you betrayed yourself just to please others, then you won't be able to face that reflection. The fourth choice that ruins a man's life is believing that after 40, it's all over. And I see this every day. Guys who blow out their 40th candle and say to themselves, "Okay, that's it. Now I'm going to gain weight. Slow down, get old. It's inevitable. That's life. That's aging." But if you want me to be honest, it's not age that destroys them. It's simply their mindset, their mentality. At 44, I'm leaner, stronger, and more disciplined than I was at 25. And yet, I've got a wrecked back, had surgery, and a hospital-acquired infection that almost left me crippled for life. And you know what? That's exactly what gave me even more drive. Even more because I realized that your 40s aren't the end. It's just the moment when you can be reborn. And there are a lot of men who bury themselves alive at 40. They give up on sports, they give up on their dreams, they let go of their energy, and they simply become spectators of their own lives. But the truth is, after 40, you have a huge advantage. You have experience, you know what works and what doesn't. You know what you want and what you refuse. So why should you give up? Why should you accept becoming a shadow of yourself? I saw the other side of things when I was bedridden, unable to walk. Some doctors told me, "Prepare yourself because maybe you'll never walk again." And I was 36 at the time. Can you imagine 36 years old and being told it might be over? But a year and a half later, I was back on stage in IFBB Pro, in classic physique. Not because it was easy, but because I refused to believe it was over. So listen closely. If you think your best years are behind you, you're dooming yourself because at 40, 50, 60 years old, you can rebuild yourself physically and mentally. You can restart your career, you can revive your relationship, your body, but only if you change that narrative you keep repeating in your head. Because age, in the end, isn't an excuse, it's a test. And the question is simple. Do you keep moving forward or do you bury yourself alive? The fifth choice that ruins a man's life is neglecting his family. There are many men who think that success is just about accumulating money, trophies, status. So they spend their lives chasing after more work, more business, more recognition. And in fact, little by little, they cut themselves off from their partner, from their children. They come home late, tired, absent. They think they're doing it for them, but in reality, they're losing them. And I've also known the other side. I've experienced the glory of competitions. I've been on stage and heard the applause. But you know what? It doesn't fill your heart. Because once the show is over, you end up alone in your hotel room. And the truth is, the medal around your neck or the trophies don't keep you warm at night. And when I met Marjorie, everything changed, and she supported me through the worst times. She was there when I was in the hospital, bedridden, unable to move. She helped me get back on my feet, literally. She helped me train again, and the greatest miracle of my life is the birth of my son, because we were told it was impossible, and after years of struggles, medical appointments, and broken hopes, he came naturally. And do you want to know what that teaches you? That no professional victory, no title, no amount in your bank account will ever replace your son's smile as he runs toward you, nor the look in your wife's eyes when she still believes in you, even when you doubt yourself. And yet, how many men sacrifice all that? How many destroy their families because they were never there, because they thought they had time? So let me be clear, if you lose your family, you lose everything. Money, you can make it again. Business, you can restart it. Even your body, you can rebuild it. But a wife who leaves because you were never there, a child who grows up without you, those you will never get back. So ask yourself, what do you want people to say about you in 20 years? Did he have a great career? Or was he a present, strong, and inspiring husband and father? Because in the end, a man's true wealth isn't what he has, it's what he passes on. The sixth choice that ruins a man's life is always putting things off until tomorrow. And that's guys' favorite excuse. I'll start on Monday, I'll launch my project in January, I'll work out when I have more time. But guess what? Tomorrow never comes. And the men who succeed aren't the ones who wait for the right moment. On the contrary, because in the end, the right moment doesn't exist. You'll always have a bill to pay. You'll always have a birthday coming up. You'll always be tired. There will always be something wrong. And if I had waited for the right moment, I would never have gone to the United States. I would never have started my business. And above all, I would never have rebuilt my life after my back surgery. Because believe me, when you're stuck in a hospital bed with a body that just can't move, there's never an ideal moment. And I decided to take action anyway. And the truth is simple, every time you put things off, you weaken yourself. Do you want to lose weight, get back in shape? So start today, even if it's just with a 10-minute walk. Do you want to launch your project? Write down 3 ideas tonight. Do you want to transform your body? Do 20 push-ups right now, this instant, no excuses. Because in the end, the guys who always put things off are the same ones who wake up at 50 full of regrets. And you know what? Regrets weigh a lot more than a workout ever will. So remember this well. The right time was yesterday. The second best time is now. And if you keep waiting, you'll never have a life. You'll have nothing but a graveyard of excuses. The 7th choice that ruins a man's life is choosing the easy way out. And I'll be honest with you, comfort is killing modern men. We live in an era where everything is just a click away. Food delivered in 10 minutes, movies, TV shows, endless distractions on your phone, and many people fall into this trap. Always choosing the easiest, fastest, least painful option. But let me tell you something. What is easy destroys you. What is hard builds you. For me, it wasn't easy to get my visa, then my green card for the United States, then my citizenship, my 35 competitions, my extreme diets, my back surgery. When I was bedridden, do you think it was easy to start over with a walker, with resistance bands? Well, no, actually, but that's what shaped me. And my business, do you think it was easy to launch it from a hospital bed too, with pain, with uncertainty? No, but actually it's because I chose to do what was hard, what required discipline, that I was able to literally transform my life. And every time you choose the easy way out, the couch instead of working out, fast food instead of a healthy meal, scrolling on TikTok instead of working on your project, you become weaker, not just in your body, but especially in your mind. And on the other hand, every time you choose difficulty, when you face discomfort, when you do what you don't feel like doing, you become stronger, you gain respect for yourself. So just ask yourself this question. Do you want a comfortable but empty life? Or a hard life but one that has meaning? Because real men are not built through ease, they are built through pain, through effort, through discipline. The eighth choice that ruins a man's life is living without discipline. And let me be clear, this is the root of all the other choices I've talked about before. Because without discipline, you become prey. Society pushes you to be weak, to seek comfort, distraction, instant gratification. And if you don't have discipline, you get eaten up by your impulses, your desires, by others. And what saved me throughout my life wasn't motivation, because motivation comes and goes. One day you have it, the next you don't. What really saved me was discipline. And when I was a teenager, I could have stayed locked in my room complaining that I wasn't good enough. But I had the discipline to tell myself, come on, I'm going to start doing push-ups every night, sit-ups every night. And even later on, when I wanted to become an IFB pro, I could have given up after my first defeats, but I had the discipline to keep going, to do 35 competitions, to get up at 5 a.m. to go train and to grit my teeth when I was at 5% body fat and had to eat barely 900 calories a day. And when I found myself stuck in my hospital bed after my back surgery, unable to walk, and the doctors told me that maybe I would never walk again, I had the discipline to start over. With a walker, a brace, resistance bands, and to get back on stage in IFBB Pro in Classic Physique a year and a half later. And when I started my online business, it was the same thing. No plan B, no safety net, just the discipline to create, to write, to film, to build day after day, even when I doubted myself, even when I was suffering. So listen to me carefully. Without discipline, you are weak. You choose the easy way out. You procrastinate. You lose your body, your energy, your dreams. But on the other hand, with discipline, you become unstoppable. You're not always the most talented. No, you're not always the strongest, nor the richest. But you win because you keep going when others give up. And discipline isn't a prison, it's your freedom. The freedom to say no to what destroys you. The freedom to build the body, the life, and the family you want. So remember this well. A man without discipline is an empty shell, but a disciplined man is a weapon. The ninth choice that ruins a man's life is neglecting his mental health. It's true that we live in a society where you're constantly told, be strong, be tough, take it, keep quiet, and move on. And yes, a man has to be strong, but being strong doesn't mean destroying yourself in silence. The truth is, a lot of men break down. Burnout, depression, fits of anger, addiction. Not because they're weak, but because they've never learned to take care of their minds. And I've experienced it too. Not necessarily depression, but pressure. The pressure from my competitions, the pressure from my businesses, the pressure from my own goals, sometimes inhuman ones. And when you set yourself huge standards, huge goals, like becoming an FBB pro, like becoming American, like building a 7-figure business, like wanting to be a present husband and father, there are times when the mental load becomes overwhelming. And if you don't manage that, it eats you up. And there are a lot of guys who make the mistake of keeping everything inside. They grit their teeth, they take it all in until the day it explodes. And that's when you see guys at 40, 50 years old lose everything. Marriage, work, health, because they never learned to release the pressure in any way other than running away or getting angry. So listen carefully. Taking care of your mental health isn't a luxury. It's truly an absolute necessity. It can be as simple as taking time for yourself, turning off your phone, breathing, writing, talking to your wife, a friend, or a coach. It's not a sign of weakness. On the contrary, it's a sign of intelligence. Because a man who destroys himself on the inside will eventually destroy everything around him. His family, his business, his body. You can be disciplined, strong, solid, but if you want to last, you also have to be at peace with yourself. And believe me, that might just be the hardest battle of all. And finally, the 10th choice that ruins a man's life is not building a real life project. There are a lot of men who live on autopilot. They work, they pay their bills, they wait for the weekend, for vacations, for retirement, and they call that living. But the truth is, they're just surviving. I've seen what that leads to. Guys who are 50 years old, have a good salary, a decent house, but an empty look in their eyes because they did everything they were told to do. School, work, loans, routine, but they never built their own path. And believe me, there's nothing sadder than a man who wakes up one morning and realizes that his life doesn't belong to him, that he spent 20 years running in a wheel like a hamster without ever choosing the direction. I made some radical choices, leaving France 14 years ago, moving to Miami with no guarantees, fighting for my IFBB Pro card, starting an online business when I was at my lowest, stuck in bed. It wasn't easy. But you know what? It was my project, it was my path. And that's what makes all the difference. A life project doesn't have to be becoming a pro bodybuilder or a multimillionaire. It can simply be building a strong family, creating a small business that you're passionate about, traveling, writing, inspiring others, whatever it is. But it has to be yours. Because a man without a project is, in the end, like a boat without a rudder. He drifts, he lets himself be carried by the wind, by the currents, by other people's opinions. But a man with a real clear project becomes unstoppable. So just ask yourself this question now. What is your project? Are you living for yourself, or are you living the life that was imposed on you? Because in the end, you only have one life. And the greatest failure is not falling down. The greatest failure is to miss out on your mission without ever having pursued it. So there you have it. You've just heard the 10 choices that destroy a man. And you know what's the craziest part? It's that we all know them, but many still keep making them until, unfortunately, it's too late. And I was lucky. I paid the price. I almost lost everything, but I got a second chance to get back up. So let me tell you something. You don't need to wait for a wake-up call to change. You don't need to wait until your body gives out, or your wife leaves, or until your dreams fade away. You can decide today, right now, because in the end, you only have one life. And the worst kind of regret isn't failing, it's knowing you never even tried. So if you refuse to end up like those men who've lost their spark, if you want to take back control of your body, your energy, your discipline, I've created an app called Metamorphics. It's a complete program with my strategies, my community, videos, and mindset content as well. You can download it for free and start your own journey. Because your life is built today, not tomorrow, not in a year, today. And believe me, it's worth it.